Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's great to have you here. It's great to see that you've decided to come and watch this video with me today. If you're new here, hello, my name is Andy. I am, as the description says, a middle-aged trans woman, and I'm making these videos as a way to kind of get some things off my chest as I kind of start on my transitional journey towards full-blown womanhood. If you've seen any of the other videos here, you'll see that these videos are very low content. It's basically me talking about stuff that's on my mind. I try to talk about one subject and I kind of ramble on until I reach a kind of a conclusion. So that's what these videos are all about. Thank you for joining me. And I'm delighted to say, by the way, in some of my other videos, I talk about my subscribers and people that are viewing my videos. And, you know, I like statistics, I like data, I like looking at things like analytics. And I'm astonished and delighted to see that I've actually got 7 subscribers and I've had 20 odd views on my most watched video, which is 20 odd views more than I expected. So thank you very much to everybody who's watching these videos. It really means a lot to me. And you know, there's even a few comments down under some of the videos as well, and it's great to to see that people are actually appreciating what I have to say. So that's fantastic, and I hope that you watching this video will appreciate it as well. Okay, so what's the subject of today's video? Well, I wasn't intending on making this video. You might have noticed I've released 2 videos already about my coming out journey, and on rewatching them, I feel like I'm coming across as incredibly evangelical, I suppose, when it comes to that sort of coming out. And I think this is just because my experience of having these conversations with the people in my life has been overwhelmingly positive, and I found this to be a very positive experience and something that I've gained a lot from and I've really enjoyed, and it's quite wonderful to get all of those different reactions and responses to when I do come out to people around me. But that being said, this isn't necessarily true for everybody, and the reason why I wanted to make this video today is because I saw a post on Reddit, where I'm always on, by the way. I'm far too online. It's not healthy, I think. It's not great, but this video struck a chord with me. It's since been deleted, so I can't link to it, and I was considering asking the person who created that thread for their permission, but it's you can't find it anyway, so it's kind of pointless. But the thread asked, basically, they were asking about things that they kind of missed, kind of post coming out, and the response that this person got to that post was kind of mixed, let's say. And I think that they found the response to be a little bit, on the one hand, gratifying, because I know that she got some positive responses, people who saw where she was coming from. But on the other hand, she found that some people's responses were less than positive. So I thought that what I want to just kind of establish, that people might see my 2 videos about coming out and think that this is something that everybody should do. I mean, especially because I ended those videos with a kind of an almost a call to arms, that if you've seen these videos, maybe this will encourage you to come out. And I hope that people didn't really take that from those videos, didn't take that message, but perhaps they did. So I just wanted to address that everybody can come out. Maybe not everybody wants to come out. So I thought I'd talk about maybe why some people might not, and I'll talk about specifically why I didn't feel that I could before all of this. And then maybe I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that perhaps I've lost since coming out. And it's kind of interesting because maybe this is something that people don't really talk about so much. And yeah, so that's what I'm gonna say. So first of all, why do some people feel they can't come out? I'm just going to take a little sip of water because my mouth is quite dry today. So why might they not come out? So there's a lot of reasons why somebody might stay closeted. It could be that they are absolutely certain that they'll face some negativity from their family. They feel they won't get the support that they need from the people around them. They might feel that there's a lot of social issues let's say, you know, if you're living in certain places in the US, for example, if you're living in Russia, if you're living in the Middle East, for instance, that's not just a question of it being mildly inconvenient. Um, you know, you're literally putting your life on the line by coming out and telling the world who you are. And I think that's quite important for everyone to remember that, yeah, I'm incredibly privileged and I feel that I've managed to find myself in a place where I can safely and securely and stably start this process and come out to the people around me. But not everybody has that, and that that really sucks. That's horrible. You know, I see in a lot of the spaces where I am online, especially, you know, the voices of people desperate because they're in situations where they are just basically, you know, they feel so alone and there's nothing that they can do. And I think if somebody, you know, in a position like mine where you have started to transition and you have come out to people and you are starting to live your life, you know, authentically, um you know, it is great. And I think in a way that I do want to share that positivity with everybody. I do want everybody to experience the joy of being able to be yourself without having to hide, without having to live in that kind of space of guilt and shame and anxiety, which I used to. And I wish that everybody could find themselves in a place similar to where I am now, where you can feel comfortable within your own body. You can look in the mirror and feel great about yourself. But the reality is that's not the case. And I really hope that people can look at, you know, the wider context and have a bit of empathy for people who haven't yet been able to come out because of whatever circumstance they find themselves in. And it's really unfortunate if you are maybe placing a little bit of pressure on those people to come out, if you're telling them that, oh, you know, you're not really trans if you haven't done these things. I mean, I would say that I'm no more trans now than I was 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I was still the same sort of transgender person. It's just now I'm in a position where I can express that and I can talk about that a lot more freely than I could before. And I think that there's a lot of, I mean, this isn't true. This isn't a universal feature of trans people, but I think there are some within the community who sort of take it upon themselves to almost gatekeep and decide kind of almost unilaterally that, you know, your trans experience is somehow less than others. And that's not right. I mean, who are you, first of all, to sort of dictate like your experience is the kind of the I don't know, the gold standard, and this is something we should all aspire to. Now, everybody's journey is very different, and we all come from very different starting points, and we all end up in very different places as well. But that doesn't necessarily mean that one person's journey is more or less, you know, correct than the others. You know, my journey. I mean, I would like to think that my experience is very, very, very common amongst trans people because as I said in my earlier videos, that I just didn't find myself in a place where I could communicate even to myself who I was until I gained that vocabulary and I gained that self confidence in my ability to express that. But not everybody's going to have that awakening experience. So I don't think it's fair that we have these kind of like, you know, almost timeline expectations of the beats that people should meet before they start to be, you know, designated as transgender, because, you know, like, it's not about how you express yourself, it's about how you feel within yourself, and that's really what's important. So yeah, so tied in with that, you know, as I say, this was triggered by this post on Reddit, and, you know, it's kind of the response that this person got, but also kind of the question that she asked in that post. And it was about kind of like, do you feel that since you've come out, you know, that you missed that kind of pre-coming out space? And I sort of thought about that, and I was initially like, oh no, you know, I don't miss those days whatsoever, because you know, there was so much shame, so much kind of unhappiness tied up with that. But actually, you know, there is something to be said about finding yourself and giving yourself this kind of private bubble. Because what I would do back in the day, is I would, in times of stress or unhappiness, or just when I was bored, I would look for ways to express my femininity. I would dress up. I would, well, mainly dress up. Essentially, I would experiment with things like makeup and doing, like shaving my body hair and stuff like that. And this all needed to be secret. At least in my mind, it needed to be secret because how can I share this with other people? How can I honestly, talk about these things with others? But there was something to be said about those periods where this was just me. This was for me, and I could just sit in that space or exist in that space as myself, and I wouldn't have to worry about like. And this might sound quite bad, and I don't want it to seem that way because I love helping people understand kind of where I and by extension maybe other trans people are coming from. I wouldn't be making these videos otherwise, but like I wouldn't need to justify myself. I wouldn't need to complicate matters by bringing other people into that space. That space was mine, and it was I was going to say pure, but that's not necessarily the case because of all of the kind of the shame and secrecy and guilt that was tied into it. But there were points where it was just me by and for myself, just experiencing me, exploring what it means to be me. And I mean, maybe this is also, it's also one of the reasons why I'm kind of introverted, because I'm used to kind of that internalized conversation and being sort of self-reliant and stuff. But since coming out, I don't feel I have that space so much anymore. I don't have that kind of private zone which is just for me, and I don't feel like I'm looking for that sort of place where it's just me and me alone, because now people are part of that. It's a much more social kind of experience now, which in a way it's really good, and I've talked about the benefits of that in my other two videos. But at the same time, I do sort of think, well, that was my space, and I've kind of lost that. I mean, I don't miss it. I don't want to go back to that. I love that I don't need to be so private, but I don't, it's a complex thought. So that's that Reddit post, and I just wanted to address that. I just wanted to touch a little bit on, if you're watching this video and maybe you watched the other two videos and maybe you came away feeling kind of bad because you hadn't got to a point where you could start coming out to people. Like it's June, it's Pride Month, you see people out and about celebrating themselves. I talked about why this month is so important for me this month, this year. But again, it's really isolating if you find yourself in a place where you can't come out for whatever reason that is. It can be really lonely, it can be really isolating, and it can give you real sort of internal kind of blame. How could you not have done anything? How have you not made progress since last year? There's Trans Visibility Day, there's all of these, there's Coming Out Day, all of these days built into the year which kind of celebrate this process. But if you're not in a place where you can do that, well, it's easy to turn around and be like, well, how could you be, how can you believe that you are gay or trans or whatever, because you can't even bring yourself to be honest with the people that you love. But be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself. If you are not in that place where you can start having those conversations, and you want to have those conversations, well, maybe look for little avenues where you can practice this, or you can find one person that you really trust, or even somebody that you don't care if you lose them as a friend, because it's like, well, whatever, they're not my friend anymore, it's no great loss. But like maybe practice online. You can go on somewhere like Reddit and you join a space anonymously and start having those conversations, because the more comfortable you are at expressing these things, maybe that would help. That's not to say that this is like the final kind of destination of where you need to be. It could just be that you're happy in your closeted self, or I don't know. But that's, I just want to say that wherever you find yourself, it's fine. don't compare yourself to other people's journeys. Don't compare yourself to, especially not me. But don't compare you. Don't look at some of like the icons of LGBTQ and think, well, if they can do it, why not me? Why haven't I done that? And then use that as a stick to beat yourself with, because it's not fair and it's not right. And absolutely don't use that as a stick to beat others with, because I mean, come on now, like we need to be raising each other up, not knocking each other down. That's what this community should be all about. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say today in this short video. So yes, thank you very much for sticking around. Thank you for watching. I hope that you will. I hope that you did enjoy this this video. And if you found this video helpful, if you saw this and you thought, yeah, that was a message that I needed to hear today. Thank you. Let me know in the comments below. I'm open to disagreement as well. So if you saw it and you're like, no, you're wrong. Again, comment below. I'm open for feedback. I'm absolutely brand new at this vlogging lark. This is literally my 8th video. So, I will make mistakes along the way. Anyway, so thank you very much. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of June and see you later. Goodbye.